Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV. I'm Vire, and if you're wondering why I'm on Red Mage, and we're in Quarry Mill and not in the Rising Stones, immediately getting the next quest from Minfilia, it's because, well, I want to go ahead and show off Palace of the Dead, because, might as well. We unlocked it quite a long time ago. You can unlock it just as soon as you finish the emissary quest line or whatever at level, what is it, 17? There's two ways to enter. You can go in with a matched party. That's basically a duty finder group. And that, if it's your first time, I would suggest doing that, because you won't have any weapons upgrades or armor upgrades on the inside. And your strength is going to be restricted. It's basically just like the ancient cave from Lufia 2. Every time you go in, you're reverted to level 1, and the only thing that matters in there are the Aether Trail weapons or whatever that you upgrade with silver/blue chests, treasure chests. Fixed party is you can enter with a pre-made party and or by yourself. And at the risk of dying, that's what I'm going to do. Although, come to think of it, since I am alone and I don't have any upgrades, my mage has no way to heal until level 54. So... Let's go with Dragoon for now until Aether Pool Arm is upgraded some. Because at least Dragoon will have Bloodbath from level 1. Also, I got, it's not a pop filter, but I got like a little foam nub to put over my mic, and it barely fit over it, because the mic portion is kind of fat itself. I don't think it's going to do anything, so, in fact, it might even interfere. I tried, like, blowing into it and recording and speaking to it, but, I mean, so far... as far as I could tell, nothing changed or nothing mattered. Now, while you're in the House of the Dead, your character thing pulls up this listing with your Aether Pool strength, and these things called Pomanders that each have different effects, and they're unique to House of the Dead. And some of them are really, really powerful. Actually, a lot of them are really powerful. They do all sorts of good things for you. So, you definitely want to use them. As you can see, EXP is different in here. It's, mine. I'm going to die to some deer already. Enemies do drop potions, though, so that's nice. Ooh, our first silver chest. Shazing. One thing you gotta watch out for, you gotta be really careful about in here, is there are traps that are invisible and cloaked in the floor of rooms. So if you can, you want to move around the outer edge of the room. Because traps range from doing things like turning you into a frog, where you'll be helpless for 30 seconds, or, you know, stepping on a landmine that does HP percentage damage and reduces your HP by 95%. Although landmines can also kill you because it's 90. They do damage equal to 95% of your total HP, not your remaining HP. So, like, if you walk into a room missing some HP and you step on a landmine, you die. Like, it's pretty brutal. Another cool thing about Palace of the Dead is it came out during a level 60 major patch to be sort of something to do during story lull, and as more casual content. So on the inside of this dungeon, you can go up to level 60 and you'll get all your level 60 skills as long as you actually have your job unlocked. If you're just your role class, like if I was just Lancer, like if I'd come in here without my Dragoon Soulstone on, I would only get the Lancer skills up to level 50 because they don't go beyond level 50. Now basically, it's a 200 floor dungeon, but the instances are separated into 10 floor chunks. So, it's not that bad, you know? And generally, when you're alone, depending on how strong your Aether Pool weapon is, you can quite easily solo up to the 100th floor, which will get you a solo achievement. On some jobs, like Red Mage, for instance, soloing all the way to floor 200 is possible, although it's excruciatingly difficult once you get beyond the 150th floor. Everything starts to hit so hard, and you're by yourself, you know, and there's still the traps. You got mimics in here as well, which are really strong. And they inflict you with a special disease called pox. But it weakens your attack, it weakens your defense, it weakens how much healing you receive, it weakens how much healing you do. It prevents HP recovery outside of battle, and it puts a slow ticking damage over time effect on you as well. So it's really bad to get poxed. And the only way to stop the pox is there's a pomander that will cleanse it, and then if you have silence, you can silence the mimic when they cast it. But except for some really low floor or brown chest mimics, they're likely to kill you, so. The riskiest floors in the palace are basically the first, I don't know, the first 20, and then like the last 50. And that stays true even if you're in a party, really, because the monsters in here they're basically trash monsters taken to their apex. They have all their best abilities and best spells and things. And so if you don't know what some of them do, you're in for a rough time. Also, there's some unique things like in the floor 15-ish range, the Allegan Cobras, like on Lake Mordona, like those lake cobras and whatnot, they start to appear. And if you get turned into a frog, not only are you helpless, but they can kill you in a single hit by eating you. So, of course, that just demonstrated that traps also affect enemies, which is pretty nice. Not gonna lie, it's pretty nice. Just use one of these sight pomanders to show you what I'm about here. Might as well use intuition as well. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pop a steal, because one thing that's kind of nice that they do about Palace of the Dead is it's pretty lenient, but your Aether Pool weapon and armor have to be upgraded to a certain point before they'll allow you access to certain floors, because there's a minimum mathematical, like, necessity, you know, like, if you don't have at least this much strength, then you won't be able to win. But really, these deep dungeons, if you're alone, and even if you're not alone, they're all about being careful and, you know, planning stuff accordingly. Now, you see this trap? This trap is called a lure trap. I don't know what the, like, weird mutant fleur-de-lis is supposed to represent, but basically, this symbol here, it means that if you step on it, you're gonna summon 3 monsters. Which is really risky, especially at higher floors, and it's risky even at lower floors if you're by yourself. So, you want to watch out for that, if you can see it. That's just another reason to be careful of traps. The traps in this dungeon, they're, you know, RNG, they make it more interesting, and they also make it way more dangerous. As far as the dungeon layout goes, though, it's procedurally generated or whatever. It's all randomized. So every time you come in here, the floor layout's gonna be different. If you notice, the mini map doesn't have any directions on it. It just has like the room cells and, you know, that sort of thing. Also, another reason I came in here is there's some story attached to it in regards to She's got platform sneakers. Now they're platform thigh boots, I guess. And she's floating. At least I think it's a girl. Yeah. But yeah, it's got some more story in regards to some stuff that you'll find out the further in we get. I don't know if it'll really be interesting to watch, because I mean, like, there won't be any story for it for a while. It'll just be, you know, action and leveling up and stuff. Go ahead and use a Pomander of Strength. The Pomander of Strength, I think it tells you, but let's see. Okay, damage up is increased, healing up is increased. Does it tell you the exact amount? Okay, 30%. So those increase the damage you deal and healing magic by 30%. They're very, very potent. And the Steel Pomander that I popped earlier for taking less damage, that's 40% mitigation. They last for 8 minutes. They're pretty freaking good. At the highest floors, the Steel Pomanders become pretty much mandatory because, you know, I've been silenced and amnesia'd by that trap, so I can't do anything except for off-global abilities. At least I have auto attacks. It's kind of funny when this came out, like, because it was such a casual content, there were people doing all sorts of weird shit in here. And I distinctly remember one of my friends complaining that they got into a group of people that were like, we're gonna try to go through this without using our weapon skills and stuff. We're gonna see if we can beat the time limit by only using auto attacks and healing. And it was just like, you got a malfunction in your brain or something? That's not how the game is played. Also, as you're going up, until you hit the EXP cap for the deep dungeon here, which is in this case 60, you always want to be trying to kill as many enemies as possible to get as much EXP as possible. We got Palace Hornets here. If they stay alive for too long, they will cast Final Sting. And within Palace of the Dead, it's instant death. So, like it used to be in Sunken Temple of Karn. So, yeah, watch out for that. If you get in a fight with the Hornets, kill them quickly. But one of my favorite things about Palace of the Dead is if someone ever asks you, like when they're just getting into the game and assuming they didn't buy a skip potion, you know, if someone's asking you, hey, which job do you think I should take up? You can always be like, I don't know, man. You should see which one you should level a couple to 30, get their jobs unlocked, and then take them to Palace of the Dead, see which one you like the best by level 60. And it used to be really good advice when the actual level cap was 60, because you'd get to see exactly what your job was capable of. At the maximum level. Nowadays, you know, it's only like, what, like 2/3 of your rotation or something that you learn by getting to 60. So. Now, I've heard of Hippogriffs. What the fuck is a hippo surf? Oh yes, the music is also randomized. Sometimes the floors will give you buffs. Sometimes they'll give you debuffs. Oh yes, if you're in a group, the Cairn of Return, once it lights up, you can use that to raise people without being a healer. So, or a red mage, or a summoner. So, useful. Well, that was a trapped silver chest. Silver chests can occasionally, they can occasionally do that. So another thing to be mindful of is if you're going to open a silver chest, it might explode. They deal more damage than landmines. Like, it's 99% of your health instead of 95%. And once again, it's of your total HP, not your current HP. So if you have a little bit of damage taken and you open a silver chest and it explodes, you die. So, there's that. This could be bad. This could be really bad. Attack up buff. Yay! If you wipe while you're solo, then you can't, if you're like above floor 100, you have to start all over. And you don't get the achievements for getting to floor 100 if you wipe and try again while you're solo. So if you're trying for the achievements, you gotta not die. Red Mage in here is really, really good, but ever since they got rid of the Drain roll skill, it has no way to heal itself until level 54, which you won't be getting to until like the 41 to 50, or the 31 to 40 range of the floors. Like you might hit level 54 by like floor 35 or something, but you're not. It's gonna be a while before you get your cure spell. So if you come in on Red Mage in the early floors, you really want to bring a bunch of potions, or have a bunch of potions stocked up from running this dungeon a few times, maybe in groups. But once you get to the point where Red Mage has Vera Cure, it pretty much trounces almost every other job. Ever since Shadowbringers, tanks have a really distinct advantage because they all have Silence and Stun, which they had in Stormblood, but they also all have really high potencies as well as a self-heal attached to their combos. So, and they all get that self-heal, except for Paladin, but Paladin has Clemency, so, which Paladin won't get that for a little while, but it's so defensive that you're going to have a hard time dying unless it's by trap or by being careless. But like Dark Knight and Gunbreaker and Warrior, they all have self-heals they get by like level 30. So and it's baked into attacking, so it's really quite nice. See, we're on floor 9. Every 10th floor there's a boss. So if there's any Pomanders, like Pomanders of Affluence or Pomanders of like Flight or alteration or anything that says it affects the next floor, you want to ignore it and not use it on the 9th floor because it won't do anything to the boss. Bosses are completely unaffected by floor-changing commanders. It's like you can't ever turn a boss into a mimic with the alteration pomander, and you can't ever like make the boss disappear with like the flight pomander. It doesn't work that way, so. If it did, there'd be a lot more floor 200 clears, or solo clears anyway. By the way, as far as leveling jobs on Quiet goes, initially I had thought I was only going to do Dragoon on him because it would be the simplest way to pierce up through the story. But I'm actually considering leveling Red Mage, Dark Knight, and Astrologian on him as well. Because there's some story beats way later when we actually get to the Shadowbringer storyline that they're all related and tied into the main story a little bit. And, but to do the quests associated that let you have all that juicy story, you have to have one of each role leveled. And they broke the roles for the quests, purposes of the quest, they broke them, instead of 5 roles like they say there are, they broke it down into physical DPS, and it doesn't matter if you're ranged or if you're melee, or magical DPS. So there's physical DPS quests, there's magical DPS quests, there's tank quests and healer quests. And, you know, I'm not going to do all the leveling for that, you know, on recording. But, you know, I just want to let you know, he's probably going to have Dragoon and Red Mage, and eventually Dark Knight, and eventually Astrologian, you know, to be able to access. But I'll be trying to go through most of the main story as Dragoon, because I feel like that is at least for now, is the one that makes the most sense to be. Alright, let's go up and teach this boss a thing or two. Callous Death Gaze, huh? Okay. Hits decently hard. Has a... I don't really classify that as a tank buster, but it's more... It's like a... Yeah, it's a damage thing. This boss isn't really all that hard. You don't even really need commanders for him, especially if your Aether Pool weapon is up there. But he can take you for a ride, so be a little bit careful. He does more damage than it would seem, and if you don't dodge some of his attacks, you'll get inflicted with a slow or an extra damage dot. So, he's rough when you're just starting out. If I can slow him with arm's length. Also, another thing that sucks about soloing in the House of the Dead is if you disconnect, it counts as a death. So if you're gonna solo this place, be aware that it's risky in more ways than just having to, you know, stay alive and do well stuff. Oh, they're only knee-high boots. It's kind of a nice dress. Oh my, where have I seen that hair and hat before? And as you can see, you get actual experience points for completing a floor set on the outside of the dungeon. I think the floor 51 to 60 range is like is or was at least a very popular grindy spot for grinding a job, especially a DPS job, up to be really, you know, really far along. After every floor set, you get put in a little intercessory, you know, little lobby where you can either immediately go to the next floor or you can leave. And it's pretty fun. And leaving doesn't have any effect on your progress. You just go back to Quarry Mill and you can enter the next floor set from Quarry Mill. So that's pretty nice. So I'll be trying to show off each floor set in the video. I don't really have any plans to try to solo to 200 on Clyde or anything like that, but I might try to show off like maybe not every single floor set, but whenever the floor sets if they have any storyline associated with them, I want to show them off. So that'll be the first 10 floor sets, so the first 100 floors. And then I don't know how exactly I'll try to rig it. I might try to rig it just so I just show the bosses and get back to doing the storyline, or I just show like what the floor was like and get back to the storyline. I don't know. I would like to show off what it looks like when you get to floor 151, but it's not like mission critical, I guess. I just think it's a real neat dungeon. Anywho, I suppose we go back to unlocking some more of the main story. We were in there for like half an hour, so. But yeah, initially when it came out, there were only 50 floors to do at all. So if you got to floor 50, you were set. And your Aether Pool weapon and armor could only go up to being of plus 30. So if you got to plus 30, you were as strong as you could get in the House of the Dead. And then, I don't know, it's like a patch or two later, they added floors 51 to 200, and then made it so your Aether Pool weapon and armor can go all the way to plus 99. And originally, you could get an I-235 weapon for trading in your Aether Pool weapon strength from 30, you know, all the way on down. Right pain in the arse, training them up, huh? Are you still over here getting drunk? Yeah, and Thancred's still over there trying to fuck the table. Good intentions, huh? Well, I'm still a lieutenant for the Twin Adders. I feel like in the real world, the Twin Adders would be asking me to report on everything the Scions do. Then again, maybe, you know, mandate by Connie-san is like, nope, leave him the fuck alone. He's a hero. Riol being the info man, eh? Riol the ninja. Riol the info broker? Riol the shadow broker. Me and mine have been making inquiries into the source of the weapons what found their ways into refugee hands a ways back. So happens we caught wind of something promising, a rather large purchase of sharp and pointy things by a black marketeer holed up near High Bridge. I doubt this man would have secured such a quantity of weapons if he did not already have clients waiting, clients that, for whatever reason, would prefer for his transactions to remain secret. Brings to mind that merchant what caught an arrow while talking to Clyde, don't it? Generous fellow he was, doling out swords and spears to the downtrodden and disgruntled. Which isn't to say that these clients have the same mischief in mind, but if you want to be sure, it might be prudent to intervene before they collect their goods. Savvy? Okay, we're gonna go catch a black marketeer, huh? Rendezvous with Captain Elbert again, huh? Well, it's a good thing I can teleport. Now, if you noticed when I started up Palace of the Dead earlier, there were two, like, essentially save files for the palace. You can run two separate runs concurrent with each other. They won't have the access to the same pomanders, but you know, you could have a fixed party run where you're trying to solo, and then in the other run, you could have, you know, like be doing it in the duty finder or whatever, or with friends, and you know, each run will be entirely, it'll be the same, but it'll be, you know, a different layout. You'll run into different monsters at different times. The monster density will be different, like how many monsters there are per floor and stuff. How many rooms there are per floor will be different. Bosses will be the same. For some reason, I remember this quest better than any other quest to Crystal Graves. And I don't know why that is, but I just really remember this quest for some reason. Another thing that's kind of good about Palace of the Dead is the hidden hoard or whatever. You know, those treasure chests you can get by standing on the golden beam after you use a intuition pomander. In the higher floor range, they will start to give you golden sacks of treasure. Dispatch the thugs, huh? Okay. Yeah, but once you start getting golden sacks from it, the golden sacks can they can turn into items you can sell on the market board, and you'll make a really pretty penny off of some of them. In particular, the sacks you get beyond the 150th floor, any of those sacks have the chance of becoming a Night Pegasus whistle, which is a unique mount. It's a black Pegasus with pink wings and a pink mane. And it's pretty rare to get. So you can sell it's a bell whistle so that people can, have it. You can sell that for usually several million gil. So if you want to make money, but you don't like crafting, then Palace of the Dead is probably the way to go. Looks like Ilberd killed the fuck out of him. Or maybe he killed himself with cyanide capsule? I don't know. I could believe either. Maybe someone tipped off your, tipped off the merchant after we got the info. Not a very interesting description. A wooden box filled with contraband. I keep having to suppress sneezes today. Most of the bosses in Palace of the Dead are just inflated normal monsters you could run into, but a few of them, like the floor 50 boss, the floor 100 boss, and I guess the floor 150. Well, no, not well, sorta. Floor 150 boss, I guess I'd count too. Those are all fairly unique, at least if not in their appearance, then in their mechanics. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably run a second run concurrent with the first, so that I can get more Aether Pool strength off the screen, so that when I'm on screen, because that's the one thing that will transfer between files. Once you successfully complete a run where you got Aether Pool upgrades, unless you trade them in for, the weapon, then. Did you hear, my friend? I've received my first official assignment as a full-fledged member of the Crystal Braves. Well, that's weird. I mean, you were one of the founding members. Why wouldn't you have gotten an assignment until now? That's dumb. Here, take this box that's bigger than your entire body, you midget. Clyde, a word if it please you. Not here, look at me. Look for me at the Sapphire Avenue Exchange. No need for whistling this time, don't you worry. Isn't that a bit strange? Passing strange. Riol would show up right after Hase said he didn't know what he was talking about. Thanks for indulging me request. Few places better than a market for privacy. I find all the hustle and bustle of commerce means most conversations go unnoticed. I'll get to the point. At the Burning Wall, when the captain interrupted the exchange, what happened? Tell me everything. Leave no detail out. Well, I was on my way. I put a stop to the guards, and Ilberd got to the marketeer. First and third get the shiniest new toys, huh? Urgently requested the Rising Stones, huh? Very well, very well. Yeah, I'm thinking I'll run the second file for Path of the Dead. I'll run it on Red Mage, and see if I can't weasel my way up alongside Dragoon, and then maybe for the recordings I'll swap back and forth to at least offer some visual differences with, you know, the combat. Determined lady by all indications, huh? A rising chorus, huh? I think I should have enough time for this cutscene. And it's Lucia, it sure is.
We have a guest from Ishgard who wishes to speak with you.
No shit.
I believe the two of you have met.
We have. I had hoped to speak with Commander Leveilleur as well, but I cannot afford to wait any longer. The Lord Commander sent me hither to request your aid in a matter of grave import.
You see now why I had Tataru summon you.
Now that we're all assembled, perhaps you would be good enough to elaborate on the nature of the matter which brought you to us.
The Observatorium's astrologians have sounded the alarm. Last night, the Dragon Star burned with an intensity not seen in 15 summers.
The Dragon Star?
Not since the Dravanians engaged the Empire in the Battle of Silvertear Skies.
The northern sky doth burn full bright upon the Wormlord's call. The red behemoth beckoneth, and flame consumeth all.
The old Curthan rhyme, aye. The brightening of the Dragon Star is said to accompany the roar of a great worm. The astrologians believe that it was Midgard Soma himself who cried out on this occasion.
After an absence of centuries, the King of Kings did return to lead his kind against the might of Garlemald, only to fall in his duel with the Agrius, proud flagship of the Gallian fleet. Devoid of life, his corpse remaineth entwined about the Magitech monstrosity even unto this day.
Ariange has the right of it. Whatever this alteration in the Dragon Star portends, the Great Worm has shown no sign of life. Tataru, have the Domans reported aught out of the ordinary?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if Midgard-Zorma had roared, wouldn't we have heard it here in Revenant's Toll?
Roar is but a figure of speech. Dravanians can communicate in ways beyond our ken. It is for this very reason that we are forced to look for signs in the heavens. We cannot say with any confidence that a great worm roared at all, much less that it was Midgard-Zorma. Only by directly examining the Keeper of the Lake can we be certain. However, it will take too long to gain the Holy See's approval to dispatch the Temple Knights. Therefore, Sir Emric would entrust this task to you. Do you accept?
Hell yeah!
We knew you would not disappoint us. Now, if you would excuse me, I must return and assist the Lord Commander. We have precious little time to prepare.
To prepare for what, pray tell?
When a great worm roars, his brethren cannot choose but answer. We prepare for battle.
Oh yeah. Oh, so that's why Mordona's full of crystals. Precious little time is right. I'm pretty sure I'm about out of it. Let's go see if I can unlock the dungeon at the Dome in Mordona here, real quick though. And then next time I can start up with entering the Keeper of the Lake dungeon, which is a very prominent story point. I have just enough time. That training being completed by my squadron, that was like right before I teleported to Quarry Mill, which is like when I started the recording, so run, run, Rudolph! Go and unlock Keeper of the Lake. And if the video cuts out before I get there, just know that, well, this is where you go to unlock Keeper of the Lake. Small airships, huh? Ah, so the Castrum's trying to salvage stuff. Okay, so we're gonna run into some Imperials, are we? Stealthy approach, huh? Okay, so he's gonna, this Doman's gonna ferry us across. Seems legit.